The cell theory. Essential question. What is a cell theory and what are similar functions of all cells? Cell theory. Cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. It's usually microscopic. It contains cytoplasm, which is like a jelly-like substance inside all cells, and genetic material, or DNA, enclosed in a membrane. There are two main types of cells. Prokaryotic has no nucleus, so it has the cytoplasm, the DNA, some ribosomes. It does not have a cell nucleus. The eukaryotic cell has a nucleus. You can see the nucleus in there, and the DNA is stored inside the nucleus. Robert Hooke. He observed bark of cork trees under a microscope. He thought the objects looked like individual rooms in a monastery, which are called cells. He called his discovery cells, and he did not know their true function. Anton van Leeuwenhoek developed the microscope lens to see greater magnification. He was the first person to observe bacteria and protozoa, or single-celled animals. He observed and described red blood cells, probably his own. Matthias Sheldon concluded all plant tissues are composed of cells. He declared that the cell is the basic building block of all plant matter. He sensed the importance of the nucleus of a cell. He did this in 1938. Theodor Schwann concluded that all animal tissues are composed of cells too. He collaborated with Sheldon to form a new theory in biology. This happened in 1839. Sheldon and Schwann's ideas became known as the cell theory. The first part says all organisms are composed of cells. Second part says cells are the basic unit of life. This theory was as important to biology as the atomic theory was to chemistry. There was one more piece to this puzzle for the cell theory. They wanted to know, where did these cells come from? Rudolf Virchow proposed that all cells result from the division of previously existing living cells. This idea became a key piece of the modern cell theory. He did this in 1855. The modern cell theory has three parts. All organisms are composed of cells, cells are the basic unit of life, and all cells come from existing cells. You can look at this picture here. It has the 5 gentlemen and all of the things that they said. First person to identify cells and name them. He was looking at a cork. Leeuwenhoek made more powerful microscopes, and then he was the first to describe living cells. And then Sheldon, Schwann, and Virchow, they contributed to the cell theory. Robert Hooke named the cell based observations on cork. Named the cell. He based his observations on cork bark. Anton van Leeuwenhoek improved the microscope and observed bacteria and one-celled animals. Matthias Sheldon said all plant tissue is made of cells. Theodor Schwann said all animal tissues are made of cells. And Rudolf Virchow said all cells come from pre-existing cells. Functions of cells. They have metabolism, chemical reactions inside the cell. Response, perceiving and responding to changes in the environment. Homeostasis, keeping conditions inside the organism within tolerable limits or balanced. It's not going to get too hot or too cold. Growth, they increase in size. Reproduction, producing offspring sexually or asexually. Nutrition, obtaining food to provide energy for growth. And defense, protection against enemies. Let's see how good your memory is. There were 7 cell functions listed on the last 2 slides. Have your teacher give you another peek at them and then write down as many as you can remember. Can you recognize that according to the cell theory, all organisms are composed of cells, and recognize that cells carry on similar functions.